All right, so finishing up our last thing of ecology. First thing we want to talk about is the ecological footprint. So, ecological footprint is basically a measure of how much a person impacts the environment. So, again, how much a person impacts. It measures the extent to which resources are used faster than they can regenerate. So, people in the West are more well developed and have a higher ecological footprint than the people in the East. So, again, people in the West have a more higher than the East, as in the ecological footprint. So, here's just again a digital picture. So the ecological footprint is from this guy named William Reeds, who calculated that developed nations work together, they could easily reduce their ecological footprint. Basically, don't use cars when you don't need to. Insulate your homes, grow food, recycle. Reduce the ecological footprint. Don't drive whenever it's not possible. I mean, if we can ride a bike, ride a bike. Now, I know some of y'all not riding a bike. Y'all might hoverboard down the street or something, but burning gas gives off CO2. This can actually reduce the ecological footprint by 20%. Growing vegetables and don't waste food. This can reduce it by 11%. Like right now, everybody's becoming these vegans and vegetarians. Grow your own food. That's more organic. You also make your home, very efficient by insulation. And then honestly, don't use stuff if you don't need to. Like if your microwave's on, so a lot of times you're actually supposed to unplug it and only plug it up when you use it. Turn the thermostat down. Now this right here, I'm gonna be honest, I ain't turning it down. If it's 85 outside, mine gonna be reading about good 71. If it's 65 outside, or no, let's say if it's 35 outside, it's gonna be reading about 75 in my house. It's gonna be warm, okay? Um, this will save 5% if we turn down the thermostat. Also, reduce, reuse, recycle. Avoid overpackaging. Donate when we don't want. Humans have a big impact on the biosphere. Human impact with the population is increasing at a rapid rate. So very, very, very fast. This can cause a species to go extinct. So there's a lot of animals because of us that are disappearing 1,000 times faster. And it's because humans deplete the resources. How? We be cutting down all these trees, building all these houses, building all these places. And no, right now with COVID, why are you building 30,000 houses in on one street? We don't need that. So, of course, remember what happens is when we do that, we damage the habitat by pollution. We have acid precipitation, ozone depletion, water pollution, land pollution, human activity. We cause this and we hurt those other animals. So, habitat loss. Between 1970 and 80, Amazonian rainforests were cleared to create farmland. Look at this. Land became worthless because the rainforest has a little bit of soil. So basically, they cut all this down, and now it takes over 150 years just for a tree to grow. So then we have habitat fragmentation, so separation of the wilderness from the wilderness areas. So this increases extinction, disrupts the ecological process. Biodiversity is decreased. So what happens? Oh, I just want to build a road right here in between the forest. And what does the animals do? Some of those animals do not cross the street because they realize they don't see so many people die when they cross the street, so they want to stay over there where they at. This is our prime example. We build roads and everything. We built the new 295, just cut up all over there by Walmart. Hunting. Why are you hunting an elephant, first of all? But American buffalo were nearly hunted to extinction in 1800s. Now um, we can't hunt them. And then right here, look at the elephants and all this other stuff. We can't kill these things. There are endangered species in North Carolina. 1 out of every 5 species in North Carolina is either threatened or endangered. That's crazy. We have a lot of hunters here. And we also do this. Habitat loss. We kill the habitats. And once we kill the habitats, now this opens up those little animals to see their predators. So we have a lot of reptiles. So even like the loggerhead sea turtle, the flying squirrel, the fur moth spider. Now, I'll be honest, we can go without the spiders. But even the woodpeckers, human needs. It is very important to preserve the biodiversity, but human needs cannot be ignored. So we do need to protect the biodiversity, but we also need to make sure we're not cutting all the trees down, or we're not just making too much of a separation. We have to have a balance between economy and environment. Human mitigation. So we did an Endangered Species Act in 1973, and of course we have natural preserves: Yellowstone Park, Crater Lake National Park, Big Cypress. Now the thing is, when we talked about the exotic species in our last thing, we have invasive species, which means the same thing. And these don't belong here, but ours in North Carolina is called the kudzu, and I probably spelled it wrong, but it's the kudzu plant. So if you see it on your test, invasive species here is a kudzu, and it kind of just grows like a vine over everything.